Hey, what's up, y'all? We are back, Brown Liquor and Cigars podcast, and today we have Regina.
Hey.
All right. And we have Toya.
Hello.
All right, and Omar.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. All right, well, thank y'all for being back on again. I'm going to jump right to it. So there is always a lot of talk about, or you hear women say that they can't find a good man and what is a good man. So I want to start off with you two ladies, Regina and Toya, and just from your perspective, what would you say makes it could be either a good husband or not even maybe a good husband, but just a good man in general. What would you say are some of those qualities?
Integrity.
Okay.
I think that's something that we've kind of talked about amongst ourselves. Lack of integrity, that's the problem that we've run into. Mm-hmm. So integrity is very important. And for me personally, a man of faith.
Okay.
So faith, integrity, actually wants and values family relationships. So those are probably the three main things that I look for when I'm saying I want a good man. Okay.
And you're saying those things just from a relationship perspective?
From a relationship perspective,
got
yes.
it. Got it. Okay. And what about you, Toya?
Excuse me. I'll agree with you, of course. Also, I look for someone that can be my friend, somebody that I can trust for sure, and somebody honest. I just need you to be like, that's a really big thing for me.
Some honesty issues here.
Trust. But again, like I say, somebody that can be my friend, somebody I can laugh with, somebody I can have a good time with, somebody I can sit down and have a serious conversation with, and there not be any judgment. Like, this is what we doing. This is us. I can be me. You can be you. Those are kind of pretty important to me.
Okay. All right. So Omar, as a single man, have you encountered some of these things that are on their list, as far as things that women you encounter, like they say, oh yeah, that's on my list of what I want from a man, or just what they think a good man is?
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've heard?
It's confusing because, when I think of a good man, I think of a good man from a perspective of a relationship and a marriage, right? And for me, that would be like someone who provides, who protects, and someone who's of faith, right? That has values and lives their lives with integrity. But she just mentioned like someone that can be a friend. It's like, okay, well, and not to push back on you, but it's like, okay, are you looking for a friend, or are you looking for like a husband or someone who's going to be in a relationship with you, right? Because I think the misconception when we look in a partner is that person's going to provide everything. It's going to fill every need, and that's not feasible. It's not realistic, right?
Right.
I think from that perspective, for me, that's kind of what I think of when we talk about a man, a good man.
Okay. And would y'all say that when we talk about good male qualities, how does that differ maybe just a good man in general outside of a relationship? Because I hear a lot of times you hear a lot of people say, oh, well, men should do this or they shouldn't do that. So are there certain things that you feel like are manly to the ladies, like that a guy has to do, like, or things that you just expect, maybe not even in a relationship, but things that you feel like, okay, a man should do X, Y, Z? Like, what are some of those traits?
I still think the faith and integrity, is whether it's a relationship or just a person or a man in general. If you're looking for just specific actions, if you're meaning like he opens my door, lets me walk in first, puts gas in my car, or, things like that. If you're talking about those type of, I think, roles that some women, may expect their man to do. And I think that's part of kind of what you're saying with providing or protecting. So maybe some of those things. But even with that, I mean, I would definitely appreciate that, but I don't necessarily expect it. Minus the door opening, I do expect that.
So you got to open the door.
Open the door. Open my
Fellas that
door.
are
Let me
listening.
go in first.
That's part.
So, a question for you on that: like, you don't expect the aspect of like providing if you met
No,
someone.
providing, yes, but not in the sense of like, you're putting gas in my car every morning. If he did it every,
okay.
now and again, yes, but you don't have to like every single time.
Right.
You have to open my door though.
Yeah.
But the door, yes.
But yes, I do think that, providing is very important. I want to feel like my man can take care of me.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point too, that, when you think of someone like that, your ideal man, consistency is one of the things that's important, right? Because you don't want to like get into a relationship with someone or a marriage and you met him a certain way, but once in the marriage, all of a sudden it's a completely different person, right? You want that
Right.
consistency of, whoever you meet or the man that you're interested in, are they consistent in their daily life with their habits, with the way they live their truth in their life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. What about you, Toya?
I agree with that. For me, my prayer has always been, Lord, he got to put gas in my car. It's just always, I'm being honest. Yes. I hate stopping to get gas. Right
Okay.
now, my gas light is on. Right now. It's something about it. Like, I mean, if he doesn't, I'm just praying, the Lord knows my heart and he knows my desires. So I just know he's going to give me a husband that be like, babe, I ain't got no gas in my car. Oh, take mine. I got a full tank. He already know, like that is a winner for
Right.
me all day. Of course, a husband, I wouldn't expect that probably from a boyfriend.
Yeah.
But definitely a husband, I would say, yes, he should do that. Opening doors. Once I got introduced to that as an older person, I was like, I don't, if I'm with a man, I don't touch doors. I don't. And I don't know if I'm saying that, I'm not saying that's required, but it's a good gesture for sure. Like, oh, okay. I see you.
Ooh, taking the trash out. I don't like that.
I was just, but yeah.
And I actually have like sat and looked at my trash can and it's just full. And I'm like, let me see if he's going to take this trash out.
I'm going to test it.
I'm indifferent about it because I've been taking out my own trash. I mean,
See,
I pump my own gas too, but I hate it. I can take the trash out.
Wait a minute. We're on to something. Y'all ain't looking for a partner. Y'all looking for a servant.
Listen,
Take
have a
out my
have a
trash,
servant's
fill up
heart.
my gas tank, open my
That
door.
But yeah, those are not, I'm not gonna say requirements, but those would be things I would love for him to do because
Yeah.
I just feel like you should,
Yeah.
But
seem
you know
like
what?
it's something easy that your mama taught you to
Right.
do. You know what I'm saying? That's something you're supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to cook, wash dishes,
Right.
and clean and stuff.
Oh,
Although
I
it
was
takes us
gonna
back
ask.
to
Yeah, I was going to
Back
ask
in the
that.
day,
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
you know
just
what? That's a good
saying.
point, though. Like, I think what you want, there's nothing wrong with that, and that should be a part of the conversation up front of what your expectations are, right? If you're going into a relationship or marriage, because a lot of people like have those expectations. You never talk about it with your partner. Once you're in the marriage or in the relationship, you're like, hey, like, I assume that you knew that these were the expectations or the
Right.
responsibilities that you had to take on.
Like, you don't
and
know
that's
how to
where a
boil
lot
rice?
of people kind of go wrong, you know?
And maybe that answers my question. My question has always been I've known people that have dated for years. They decide to go ahead and get married and it goes haywire. And it's like, wait a minute, y'all been together happy for years. But maybe it's because they didn't have those conversations or didn't understand what the requirement was once you get that piece of paper that says you're married. It
Yeah.
seems like somewhere it changes or something.
I was going to, yeah, no, I agree. I was going to ask y'all too, like, okay, so what do y'all think? 'Cause Toy, you mentioned something that I think was really key where you said that you maybe wouldn't expect certain things from a boyfriend, but correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe have different expectations of a husband.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that look like, or do y'all think that that's kind of the same generally for a lot of women, or what are some of those differences between the male expectations as a boyfriend versus a husband?
It's kind of because, well, for me, if you're my boyfriend, the expectation is that you're going to be my husband. So I think I would expect certain things from my boyfriend, I mean, it would be the same thing that I would expect from my future husband, because I feel like he's going to be my husband. That's why I'm dating you.
Okay. So is it okay for him to expect sex, because
Ooh, that's a good question.
in the future he might want you to be his wife? So he like, let's get into the duties early.
Everything
Well,
goes.
well, listen, if he's a man of faith, then that won't be
All
on
right,
the table.
then.
He would understand the
Okay.
reason behind that.
If he's a man of faith.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's
But
a
we
good
fall
question,
down,
though.
even
Now,
in faith.
would you treat someone who's not in the faith different than someone who is? Like, would you date somebody who maybe they're not connected to their faith or whatnot, with the hopes that you can kind of convert them to like having a relationship with God?
No, I wouldn't think that I would convert them. I would still, be maybe friends with them.
Yeah.
And that's their own journey, and maybe, I could be a light in some way, but I wouldn't.
Have you dated someone that hasn't been a faith in the past?
I've dated only people who believe in Jesus.
Okay.
Now, there's been some that may have been like not as strong in their faith, but I've said no to people like,
Yeah.
That
yeah,
didn't have the faith.
and it's actually been happening like here recently. I don't know what's going on, but like I've been meeting a lot of people who don't believe in Jesus, God.
No.
So for you, that's like upfront. Like,
Yeah, no, that's a
if-
deal breaker. Nope.
Okay. Good.
You want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
And the differences.
For me, I have dated people that, like you say, are not on the journey as much as I may be. But who am I to judge, where they are? More so for me, because I don't want to say I don't date with the expectation to get married, but I don't. I really don't, because I'm almost 40. And although it's not an age thing or whatever, I just kind of feel like, well, maybe marriage may not be for me. I'm not cutting it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at this point, if I'm giving you my time and I'm dating you, it's because I like something about you. You intrigue me in some type of way. And I feel like, okay, we can date. Now, whatever your relationship is with God, now, if you believe in a whole lot of other stuff, then
No,
those
that's
unequal,
what's out
those
there.
unequal situations. I don't know how we could really, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you said, we could probably be friends, because, sir, I'm sure we would be in a lot of arguments. Just because your thought process is way over there, and sweetheart, I'm trying to be right here, and you're taking my energy to a place I don't want it to be. So in that instance, yeah, I think I would be like, okay, well, let's just be friends. Let's be cool. Let's try to see where this go. But I mean, if we believe in God, whatever, because at this point, if God wants me to marry him, he's going to make that thing, he's going to make it work. It's not going to be a hard situation. It's not going to be perfect, but it's not going to be something that I have to, I shouldn't have to crawl through the mud every day, or, you know what I'm saying? There will be some struggles, I'm sure, but I just feel like it wouldn't be, so difficult. And being with somebody that's not in the same, at least some type of mindset, I feel like there would be a struggle there.
So with that being said, and to kind of go back to Carlos's questions, there wouldn't be a lot of differences with you like dating and maybe some things that you would envision would only apply while you were married, right? Like it seems like that's kind of not an issue for you. Meaning like the intimacy part of it, if you're dating somebody or have a boyfriend, to you wouldn't restrict that intimacy that normally applies to, within the constraints of marriage.
So I'm gonna say for me, pray for me. He's still working on me. You know what I'm saying? But I personally feel like if it's God brought him, that won't be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So it won't be, I'm throwing myself at you. Here I go. Right. You know what I'm saying? But if that's what it is, again, I guess because I'm not dating with the expectation to get married, I think to get married is a higher standard than if I'm just dating you. Just dating you. It's more casual. I probably should have a different mindset about that. But because of my mindset about marriage at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, we'll just kind of feel it out. So I don't think I would hold back if I'm feeling you and I like you and we get to that point. I wouldn't feel any way about it. I mean,
yeah, you wouldn't feel guilty about like, oh, I wanted to wait till marriage for me to give myself.
I would start it that way. If that's what I'm feeling, I'm thinking, and then that's how I think I would start that situation. Like, oh, okay, I'm feeling him. It's different. Maybe this is, if I start feeling like, okay, God has been telling me or speaking to me or whatever. Okay, well, let me just sit back and see what happened. In that instance, then yeah, I'm going to hold back. And then if he brings it up, we'll sit down and have a conversation and I'll let him know like, okay, I kind of feel like this might be different. This might be, this might be more than what I was initially expecting. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have a question for you. Yes. Talking about my godly brothers. So you mentioned that you mostly date guys of faith that believe in Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Have you ever run into a situation where, they try to be pushy about the intimacy part of it? Is that something that you like run into a lot with?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've run into it before. And that's a conversation that, we've had to have. And it was one guy recently that I had that conversation with, and he was like, no. Like, he can't wait. But the thing is, like, you're not even my boyfriend. Like, we really just met. So if we're 10 days into this, because it was literally 10 days, why, like, it's not like it's been, a couple of months. Mm-hmm.
So did you think of him as less of a man because the faith is a big thing on your list? Or did you think of him since he didn't have that
I wouldn't necessarily
self-control?
say less of a man, but yeah, he lacked self-control. So I felt like he didn't really respect or care about me as much. I think it was just all about, this is what I want and this is what you have to give to me. And, we sat and we talked about it. And I was like, well, we've only known each other for a short period of time. Like, why are you even having this conversation with me now? I was actually more upset that it came up so quickly. Like, we just met. Why are we talking about this?
Yeah. And I asked that, too, because I feel like that can be a fine line when you're talking about the faith and then bringing in sex. Because I've heard both sides of the spectrum. Like, oh, well, he's being too eager. But then I've also heard some women say, like, dang, I wish he would touch me. I wish he would do something to make me know. Even they might be on their path and, maybe the guy might be waiting for marriage or abstaining or whatever the case is. But on the flip side, would it be fair to say, do you think some men are categorized as being less than if they wait too long?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh, I don't think less than.
I wouldn't say less
maybe
than
a little slow.
Maybe a little slow, but
they're a little slowful, but I wouldn't attack his character that way.
No, I wouldn't attack his character either.
It would probably. I love to sit down and have community. I like to talk about it. Like, if I feel some type of way or I keep seeing something, I like to sit down and talk about it. Like, okay, babe.
Right.
It's been 18 months.
Oh, whoa! Are you still there? That's commendable.
They would marry you quickly.
Yeah.
You would be
I'm
married
just
within
joking,
6
but
months.
I'm
true.
just joking, but I'm
Right.
just saying, like, even if you haven't touched me or I don't feel like there's no type of intimacy, it doesn't have to be sex, but there should still be some type of intimacy to a point where I know, like, oh, he holds my hand or he rubs my shoulder, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there should be something there. If it's not, okay, babe, let's sit down.
But I've even heard some say, like, if they are trying to abstain, like, they can't, like, listen, don't come in here.
Yeah, don't start it. You're not gonna finish it, right?
Right. And I respect I respect the man that can say that. Like, tell me that so I know. Oh, okay. I'm gonna
don't touch me.
Okay.
Right.
Don't wear this.
Right.
Hey, boo. What's up? Dap me up.
Yeah.
Because we know, but yeah.
And piece of advice, guys. If you're one of those guys that's pimping out Jesus Christ just to get some, please stop that.
Please stop.
Right.
Please stop
that is
that.
true. Because some, I
too.
do. Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Because that's a perfect example of, like, I believe in Jesus Christ, but what's up?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You down or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's you guys bring up a good point, because in my mind, I would think that if you are dealing with a guy that's trying to abstain from intimacy until marriage, and he's really attracted to you, there's not going to be a lot of waiting. From the time that, if you're the one that he wants to marry, that he'll propose and say, hey, let's get it done. Because, obviously I want to enjoy this, but within my faith and the constraints of what I consider marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, too, the issue I've seen a lot, and I've even experienced this a couple of times, is a lot of times men will fall in line kind of to what you said, Toya, like the expectations, or like the what you set from the beginning. So, like, if you tell me and I know from jump that you're not having sex, then, okay, in my mind, I'm like, all right, then I know what this is. Right. But if you start off, Pringles pop and you can't stop it, and now you want to be like, oh, well, no, I think we should. Right. No.
Yeah, you can't take it back
now. All of a sudden, Jesus talked to you in a dream. It's like, yeah, he said we should be having sex.
Right. I went to church Sunday and the Lord spoke to my heart. I can't do that no more, but I still want to date you, though.
Right. Like, what? And maybe this is unpopular. Maybe I don't want this to make it sound like I have less faith or anything by saying this. But for me, at this point in life, I would be, because I think there's some people who maybe don't go to church. They still believe in God, but they're just not church people. But they may be highly spiritual, and they may really in their day-to-day life you might be able to see more God in them than some of the people that are in the church. So me personally, I would be totally open to dating a woman like that. And I don't know if that's because of maybe the male stereotype of like the man is supposed to lead. So I would think, okay, well, maybe I could kind of rub off on her. Like, I mean, you can't be doing like no Ouija boards and all this stuff. But I mean, as long as you believe in God, like, to me, that's like,
what do they call them? Agnostic? Where
agnostic. I would and see for me at this stage in life, I would be that's perfect. Yeah, I would be open to entertaining an agnostic woman for me, because I feel like I think sometimes people get so caught up in the rituals of religion, and then they forget about the spirituality piece. I mean, I'll never forget, I went to high school with a guy who was, he was atheist, but his values and the things that he believed in and the way he treated people better than probably like 80% of the Christians I knew.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like if you find yourself in a situation, then, you never know.
You bring up a good point, because it's like, if I say that I believe in God and I'm not loving to those around me, like my family, my kids, or my friends, and, people can sense that. It's like, wait a minute, you're claiming something, but you're not very loving, know? And for me, that's always one of the things that's like, am I being loving to others? Am I being kind and respectful? And if I'm not, then it's like, all right, I got to check myself, because something's not right in my spirit, in my heart.
Right.
Okay.
So I think we've established that, Toya and Regina, y'all both would say you respect and but like men that are, of the faith, open doors, take out the trash, that sort of thing.
Pump my gas.
Pump gas, yes. Let's not forget, pump gas. But what about some of those stereotypical things that maybe aren't as easy to call out, I guess you could say? So,
like money.
Yeah, well, money. That could be, making money.
Would y'all date a guy or make him your boyfriend if he was making less money than you?
Yes.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Right. So people need to, when they say less than you, first of all, you have to understand what less is, because less can be 90,000,
right?
And that's good. Mm-hmm. So,
but a lot of women, that's a no go.
Yes.
So you can somebody can get demoted, or you can get a raise, or So that
I pay attention to how you, like, if your financially savvy. So whatever it is that you make, you like live well, you're responsible, you're not in debt. You're not struggling. Like it's more about that than the number.
More about the management and
how you manage
got
your
good
money.
credit.
Still be broke and make 6 figures.
You got good credit.
Exactly. 6 figures and debt.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and what about some of those, like the stereotypes that like men are, like all men are maybe into sports. Like, so for me, like I love music and I watch sports from time to time, and I even like going to games. Like I might not watch it on TV as much, but I'm not a diehard sports guy because I'm not great at it. So it's like I'm not going to invest something that all this time on something that, you know, I'm not, you know, that great at. But I've heard some women say that things like that might be a requirement. Like they really want a man that's into sports, which is funny because I get it if the woman is, but I've also heard it where they want that and they don't know a lick about sports. So it's like, well, you don't even know anything about it, but that's, you know, that's what they want. Or maybe they want a guy who's really handy, you know, knows how to fix things or something like that. So what do y'all think about some of those?
For me, sports, if you do sports, great. If you don't, great. Because I don't do sports. I am a diehard Cowboys fan, but how many times have I watched a Cowboys game? I don't know. I just watched the one on Thursday. But if anybody say anything about them, I'm like, oh, no. I'm the number one fan. Don't ask me about, I don't know any, I don't care about it. Okay. If he loves sports, hey, do you, boo? I know that's your thing, you know, whatever. So that wouldn't be a requirement for me. I wouldn't feel no type of way if he didn't. I'm an artsy person. I like live music. I like going to poetry. I like doing stuff like that. Take me to a museum.
Yeah, me too.
As long as we can compromise. If you like sports and I got to go watch a game once a week or once a month, that means you're coming to this dance art show with me or something. Like if we can make that work, like I'm okay with it. So I that wouldn't be a deal breaker for me.
No, it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. And I'm not that into sports, but you know, I'm an OU fan because I'm from Oklahoma, so I get into that game.
Okay, well, yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So I'm more about the atmosphere. Right. So you know, I like going to like the watch parties and things like that more so than I like the game.
Right.
So that wouldn't be a deal breaker. Like that's it's not a requirement. Yeah. No.
Got you. Okay. And then what about the whole idea of even maybe some of those things that aren't tangible or you can see, but like the idea that men, or the stereotype that basically men can't show emotions, which I think there's been a lot of progress with that these last, I'd say probably specifically the last decade or so. But
not enough, man. We're
still way behind. Yeah, it's still, it is. It's still way behind. Yeah. Because guys are kind of taught to, you know, like hold in emotions and things like that. But on the flip side, could you really take an emotional guy? Is that like, is there a limit to the emotion?
I think there may be a limit, but I do think that you need to show emotion. I think that's part of the problem. Like if you're holding all of these things inside, and you know you're dealing with all of these things, and you're not expressing yourself or expressing it, so it's causing more harm, you know, than good. So definitely, you know, men show your emotions. And I think that's just with anybody. You don't want someone that's just overly, you know, crying every day.
Right. Like, whoa, wait a minute.
What's going on now? It's too much. Yeah. It's too heavy.
Which, again, great point that you bring up, that that's probably something that women don't talk about or look for enough, like when they're looking at guys. Like one of the things that I would say, and this is some advice, is like make sure that, you know, whoever you're looking at for long-term relationship or marriage, that they have a village, that they have a tribe that they belong to, where they can you know, go and express their emotions, what they're feeling. Because if you don't, if you get with a guy that like bottles all that in, that's like a recipe for disaster, right? They have to have a good support system where they can talk about those things. And from experience, you know, we've seen it where a lot of men are dealing with that, where, you know, like for example, in the veteran community. There's like 22 veterans that commit suicide every day because there's really no one that can help them where they can talk about their feelings or whatnot. And men in general, right? So that's a big part. And if you're a guy, hey, get plugged in with other guys where you can talk about these issues. Because I know women, they're really good at that. Women are emotional creatures where they have girlfriends, they have good support systems, but guys, we don't do a very good job at that.
We literally talked about that, like me and my other friends. We were like, we don't see our guy friends coming together and really talking about what's going on in their lives.
Right.
And like one by one, they fall apart.
Yeah.
And we're like, why didn't you say, help your brother out?
Yeah.
I told him. No, you didn't. You didn't say, you sat and watched them. So it's like we see you guys not having that like community, that relationship. So we were like, we don't understand like why that doesn't happen.
I think part of it is because we don't want to be seen as weak. Right. And it's like one of those things. No, I can't seem like weak to my boy. Like we grew up, we're competitive and we have that competitive spirit to where it's like we always want to like best each other. Right. But it is important that we find that space to be vulnerable and to just, let all those emotions out. Because a lot of us, obviously, I say it because I grew up in minority community. Like a lot of us grew up with trauma, whether that was dad or mom or whatnot. And throughout the years, we really don't find outlets to talk about that. And it's important. But from a guy's perspective, a lot of the times, that's why we isolate ourselves because I don't want to appear weak to you, know. But guys, you have to like put that pride and ego to the side to be vulnerable with other men and let them know what's going on, because honestly, when you sit down and talk about these issues, you'd be surprised that those same guys are probably going through the same shit that you're going through.
Or they've been through it or
they feel the same.
Right. That's true.
I'm going to add a little piece on that. That's really good. I'm going to say for women, I'm going to say for me, I don't require a man to be vulnerable with me all the time because sometimes he doesn't want to be vulnerable with me and tell me what's going on with him, but he'll be better to tell his homeboys if he has somebody. So I think for me, I want you to show that emotion. Like you were saying, don't do too much. Right. If I'm crying about a situation, baby, I don't need tears from you. I need you to be strong. Like, babe, you got this. I need you to be that man. But I mean, sometimes, yes, I do want to see you be vulnerable or open up to me a little bit, but I'm not going to require you to do that for me all the time because sometimes I don't have the words to say. You need a man to say that because that's something you're dealing with a man. And I think a lot of times us women, we want him to tell us everything and give it to us, like tell us everything and let us help you, let us be your support. But there's still, I feel like there's a limit in that as well. Even with us women, there's some things I can't tell my man. I can't. What is he going to say? He's never been through it. I mean, he can be, babe, I'm here for you. My ears are up, whatever he can say. But at the end of the day, I need my girl to be like, girl, no, listen, this is what you need. Like, look, that's okay. Look, we got this. You know what I'm saying? So it's totally different. But that's just one thing. I think sometimes we do kind of require them to tell us everything. And we don't know what to do. So sometimes it doesn't help them. Even though they got it off their chest, I feel like it's still like, okay, there's still some type of void there because I didn't get what I really needed.
Yeah, and this is author, her name's Esther Perel, and she put it beautifully. She said, a couple decades ago, it would take a village to support a relationship, a marriage, and now we have it backwards. We want two people to provide everything that a village used to provide into that relationship, right? And like you said, like, hey, you have your homeboys, go talk about it. And that's actually good training for guys. If your goal is to be in a long-term relationship or marriage, if you're able to be vulnerable with, a group of guys or support system, whether that's in church or wherever, right? Then that's giving you the ability to also know how to open up once you are in a relationship with a woman where, like you said, you're not going to share everything, but there is a level of vulnerability that you have to be able to bring to the relationship,
Right.
Yeah, and I think too sometimes, and I think this is men and women. Sometimes we go into relationships, especially if it's a romantic relationship, with these preconceived thoughts of what each sex should be like emotionally, because I've encountered situations where I've dated women who they have all these emotional walls up, but the stereotype is, oh, women show their emotions, you know, they do all this, and then it's like I'm in those scenarios, it was like I was operating as the woman in some, or the stereotypical woman in some regards, and she was operating more as the guy. Ooh. So it's I think
so she was trying to be masculine.
Yeah, well, it's like I couldn't get through to her. Yeah,
if she has
it was like I
walls,
couldn't get through emotionally. So in that regard, it was like a masculine kind of thing that at least the stereotype, that people think of. But yeah, you got to let it out, because I used to be kind of like, I'm working on it, but I wouldn't say things, and then when I finally get fed up with it, I blow up.
So it would turn into resentment.
And then I start it's like a rewind in my head. It's like I remember, like, oh, I remember this.
So you start naming stuff that she had no clue.
It's like, I didn't even know I did that. What?
3 months ago.
What? But I think some of that comes with just, maturity and things too. But that's a big issue. And like you mentioned, Omar, like the holding in and bottling. I think for men or women, that could be a danger. And then it's not good for your health either. Just to hold in those things.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we will go around and give our moments or shots of truth about just, men, what is a good man, or what do you all think is a good man, and what is something that you would leave to the listeners, anybody, male or female. I'll start with you, Omar.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Man, I said a lot, but I would say, it's good to have expectations. Also, keep in mind that nobody's perfect, right? Yeah. Nobody's fully complete. So, when you're thinking about a partner or a guy, it's great to have all these qualities that you're looking for and expectations. But if you do meet someone that maybe is not all quite there or doesn't check all the boxes, I mean, it's still worth, exploring that and giving them a chance. Because I know for me personally, I'm still working on myself, constantly. So, and in my mind, it's like I can always, there's always room for improvement. So same thing with women, like I'm not going to disqualify you if you're struggling with something, because I know that I struggle with things in different areas, so. Yeah. That would be my shout of truth.
Nice. Okay. That's what's up. All right, Toya.
Okay, for me, I would just say keep an open mind. Be honest. Be yourself. Be okay. Be confident in who you are, and also kind of like you're saying, Carlos. Nobody's perfect. We're all working on ourselves in some shape, form, or fashion, whatever. But with that, just know that when your person is your person, if there's something they're not doing that you really want, I feel like eventually they'll start doing it because they want to make you happy, or they want to do that for you. And it would be the same on the other end. Like if he don't like pumping gas right now, I know
he's gonna get her gas pumped.
Right.
I know. At some point in his heart, God is gonna place in his heart to be like, "Babe, let me go put some gas in your car." And at that moment, I will know.
I was like, that's how you will know.
Right, he's the one.
He is the one. So even if they don't do everything you want, if they really like you and they're really into you, I feel like they will, at least try to do that, or at least do something to show you, like, okay, I like that. So here we go. That's my shot.
Okay.
And I will just echo kind of what you guys both said. None of us are perfect, right? But I feel like we should just try to continuously improve ourselves and always put your best foot forward. Like, just work on being your best self, whatever that may be. Be true to yourself, be honest, but try to be your best self to yourself and to others. So that is my shot of truth.
Cool. I definitely echo all of that too. Only thing I would say is, just to me, being a leader or a man or a good man is, sometimes it's going against the grain, doing things that aren't popular and, standing on your own 2 feet. And in addition to the faith and all those things that we talked about too. But I think that's definitely, always something that qualifies like a strong or a good man, is like somebody who's able to stand on their own 2 feet. And then just, it's okay to have standards. But I think sometimes when and this is male or female, when we have these lists of things, you have to be willing to, if you're going to dish out all these things on the list, then you have to be willing for that person to come back to you and say, okay, well, I want this, and this on my list. So lists or standards can sometimes be a catch-22 in that way. So I think just, sometimes kind of got to be careful. But yeah, that's it. All right. That is a wrap. Peace.